One day in May 2020, I was looking in the mirror, I looked okay, and then I turned sideways and I had this big gut. And it had been growing gradually over the years. My father had passed away in April, a month before, after suffering with type 2 diabetes for years and years. And I thought, what if I'm just like 24 years behind my dad? Because he gained weight gradually. And then I watched a video of Nina Teicholz speaking at the Cato Institute about the problem with the food pyramid and carbohydrates and insulin resistance. It never occurred to me that it applied to me. So my sense was this knowledge was directional, and I stopped eating cookies, carbs, sugar, and it was weird. I'd go to the refrigerator and look at the ice cream bars from Costco that I'd purchased, and I'd just stare at them because they were irresistible the month before, and now I had no interest in them. So something set me off. I lost the 20 pounds in 1 month, another 20 pounds over the next 6 months, and I'm 40 pounds down. But anyway, so that's my story. I've been sharing this with other people, with friends, family, people suffering with insulin resistance. I guess I'd say I'm angry because my father suffered so much for so many years. I didn't research it. I didn't know about this. So now we know, seems like, that we can tell people, well, try reducing your carbohydrates and see what that does to your blood glucose levels. How could we not know how our own body works? It's crazy, but seems to me once we help people get a sense of it matters how you fuel your body, how your metabolism works, I think we can make the world a better place. Throughout my life, at least throughout the last decades I could remember, I would occasionally feel like I'd just been unplugged. I'd be at the office and like my head would fall on the table. I just had no energy. And if I could nap, I would nap, but I never knew why. Then I learned about blood glucose surges and insulin spikes and the blood glucose going down too far. And I realized that I'd been sabotaging my body by having a cinnamon roll in the middle of the day or this giant meal, macaroni and cheese or whatever. So learning to get my blood checked, fasting glucose levels, hemoglobin A1C, that never occurred to me until I'm like 65. I had this blood test. The doctor just looked at it and said it was okay. But I had no idea how important basic things like that are visceral fat. I'd gone up to over 40 inches and kept trying to find pants that were 40 but stretched so they're really 42. And then over this 6 months, I lost 5 inches around my waist. The fuel system for your body needs to be healthy, which means you don't overeat carbohydrates because they turn to glucose and your body can only handle so much. It took me a year, I think, to gain the metabolic flexibility where I like to eat, but I don't have to. I have this separate fuel system that's like a miracle. And when I read about Georgia Ede and others helping with the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners, this was setting up a society where there are published standards demonstrating that this recommending low carb is backed by data, is backed by a society. That's crucially valuable. And it's not the federal government waving a wand or issuing a mandate. It's people learning from their associates, from attending conferences like this. The SMHP is this valuable body of people that are publishing research and promoting standards for improving health on chronic conditions. This is what people ate before the federal government started pushing the federal dietary guidelines, pushing carbohydrates up. So we call it the low carb community, but it's really the normal carb community, as well as ketogenic and intermittent eating. Again, growing up, we had dinner at 6 and fasted through the night until breakfast. And now people are snacking, the moms are chasing their kids around with these little snacks thinking they can't survive. But the federal government is telling us to do that. The state governments, the colleges, the high schools, as if this is God's own truth about nutrition, but the SMHP is explaining the science, the history, the research,